Welcome back to Kingdom Death the Monsters. This is the end of year one, as you recall. I've cleaned up the board. The very next step for us to do is mark the year two and read Endless Screams on page 115. So we're going to do that right now. And I believe that's a timeline event. Endless Screams. You can see some wailing wraith figures, and hey, that's kind of what happened to Zelda in the last round. Not really. The Endless Screams. A scream pierces the silence around the settlement. As the noise fades, a chorus of horror rises up in answer. The settlement erupts into chaos, trying to comprehend the source of the terrible wail. You may now hunt the screaming antelope added to the quarry list on the settlement record sheet. Nominate a single survivor to stand amidst the madness. They gain one courage and become the voice of reason. They must make a roll on this chart. Well, since we started with Mario at the very beginning and he is available to join our party once again. Let's see. The Screaming Antelope is now available for our quarry. Mario will step up. And I've already gone ahead. I brought Mario back out. I also decided I would just send two new girls into whatever our next fight is. So I took out Palutena, set up the colors, took out Samus, and I took out Donkey Kong. They will be joining us on the next event. I haven't changed the dice colors yet, but I'll definitely do that before the next episode, before we actually do the hunt. So Mario rolled a 2. The survivor's face turns pale, and the courage drains from their eyes. He gained a courage. We're about to lose it. Without hesitation, the survivor turns on their heels and dashes for the darkness. Sadly, their foot catches a stone face, and they fall face first into the floor. The survivor loses one courage and suffers the broken jaw severe head injury. Well, we have that in here. I realized that the severe injuries are listed in here, so you can add them to your thing. I guess it is shattered jaw here. I will double check by looking at the severe head injuries. Broken jaw. It is the shattered jaw. So, how about that? Within the timeline of events, there's a little Unless I read that incorrectly? No, it says broken jaw. So, shattered jaw. I believe shattered jaw is the severe injury. I'm going to copy this and paste it. Because I've come to the realization that you can add these cards to the character sheets. So there's no reason for me to ever place in their note space extra details for stuff like this. But Mario has a shattered jaw. You drink your meat through a straw. You can no longer consume or be affected by events requiring you to consume. You can no longer encourage. This injury is permanent. It can be recorded once. Gain 1 bleeding token. Now, when you are in this zone, I don't think you would get the bleeding token. Alright. Because that would have been cleared out for being here. So, Mario can no longer consume things. He has a shattered jaw. And we can hunt the antelope. Was there anything else with that timeline event? Endless screens? It does not appear so, because this would be the next one, yeah. So, we heard a scream. We nominated Mario. He freaked out. He tripped. It turns out Mario's... Oh, he's just a pussy. Okay, so real quick, I've laid out my resources here. It is time for us to spend our endeavors in craft, and that's what this short episode is going to be about. I wanted to say I made a new hut, a must-skip next hunt hut. It seemed like a really good idea to add one of these, so I added it myself. And I put, what was it, Donkey, Captain Falcon, and Link in here as they needed to skip their next hunt. Mario, of course, no longer has that as he skipped the last hunt. So with that, the first thing I wanted to do, I set aside these items as so. So what I want to do is I'm going to cash in on the Shimmering Mane. We don't have these monster hides until I cash in on the Shimmering Mane. You can archive this. You gain 2 basic hide resources. So we're going to delete it. Get the 2 hides. And I'm going to drag this one down here. With these 3, 1 bone, 1 organ, 1 monster hide, and 1 endeavor, I will innovate. Since you can only do it once per phase, I think it's a good idea to try and do this. You can only do it once, once per settlement phase, so you can only do it once per lantern year. I think it's a really good idea to do this every year if possible. Unless you like really need your loot for other things. So, we're going to get a new innovation. And before I forget, since Mario has broken jaw, he can no longer encourage. It just... I was thinking about that. So let's see. We have Symposium, Education, Language Consequence. It will increase our survivor limit, and when a survivor innovates, we draw an additional 2 innovation cards to choose from. That is good. Anemonia. Science Language Consequence. Departing survivors gain 1 survival. We add ammonia to the, or ammonia consequences to the innovation deck. I think that while ammonia is really great, I want Symposium because increasing the survival limit is a very great way to stay alive in this game. So we're going to get Symposium. Put ammonia back in the deck. From now on, we can look at 4 cards to pick one from. And I have to add the Symposium consequences to the deck now. So let's do that. We'll find... They should be towards the bottom. So science, other, education, faith, lantern oven, ammonia, lantern oven, ammonia, storytelling, hovel, family. There's 1 Symposium consequence. There's another Symposium consequence. And with those 2, those are probably the only 2 to add, because usually, if you don't mess with the deck list here, they would be ordered appropriately. But I can double check. We'll add those 2. We can check the quick reference guide here for the core set stuff. We just need to find Symposium. Yes, it gets storytelling and nightmare training. So those are the 2 that are added. Storytelling and nightmare training. So they'll get flipped. And they will become options for us to draw in the deck. Also, I need to remember, the R button shuffles. I don't have to pick these up anymore. I need to get used to hitting the goddamn R button on all of my things. And I won't have to keep picking them up. Yeah. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Okay. Anyway. So with that, these 3 resources here are used up. We have innovated. Our survival limit is now 3 for the settlement. Thanks to that, and while I have these guys active, I will increase this to 3 for everybody. Alright, the next thing that I wanted to do, this is what we have left. I want to make, with the Eye of the Cat, the only thing the Eye of the Cat makes. It does count as an organ, but it makes a cat eye circlet. And the cat eye circlet seems really fantastic to me because it does. You can use your action to reveal the next 3 monster hit locations and put them back in any order. This thing, you saw how well I used the hide armor set to manipulate the cards. This thing is even better than that. I'll figure out who gets what later, but we're definitely making one of those that will use up our cat eye. The skull can be used to make a skull helm all by itself. So I'm going to just use it to make a skull helm for one of our characters here. We'll just take that out. It is a 3 defense to the head. However, if you ever get hit enough that all your armor runs out and you take a severe head injury, you lose the skull helm. But I think it should be pretty worthwhile. Hopefully, it'll be pretty worthwhile. And I'll just leave it here. I don't know who's going to wear what yet. So that handles the skull. We are left with 3 bones and 2 hides. Now, while I would love to make some white cat items, especially since we have the great cat bone, I do not have lion claws, which you need to make all lion weapons. And so because of that, I don't know how rare the great cat bone is. I'm guessing it's kind of rare to get it, but you need it to make a king spear, and we don't have a sinew to make the gut bow, so we're just going to use those bones. You'd think if it was a great cat bone, we could like cut it into 2. No, we can't do that. So we're just going to make some regular bone items. I want to build 1 bone dart, 1 bone blade, if it would let me ping it, I'm sure you guys can see, and 1 bone dagger. And I think that's what we're going to do. The bone dagger is just a fair safety weapon that has a perk for its strongest hit. It also gets 3 dice thrown for its attack, so it's pretty good. The bone darts are a fragile weapon, so they have a chance to break if they ever attempt to wound a super dense hit location. But hopefully with the cat eye, careful usage of that, I will be able to avoid that circumstance. And bone darts, they have a damage of 3. You only throw 1 at a time. But I think giving them to Samus would be a good idea, as her speed is currently permanently +1. So I wanted that. And then the bone blade is just a pretty strong starting weapon. 2 dice, 2 strength, hits on 6 up. It's also frail, but it's fairly strong. I know we're fighting the Screaming Antelope. He does have 1 super dense location, if I recall correctly from my past experiences with it. So with the amulet, I should be able to avoid it, and these weapons should do us a damn good job. I'll figure out who all I'm equipping later, but Samus with the speed, I'm giving the darts, probably. So we have 2 hides as the last 2 pieces of gear. if I really want to... No, I don't think I can complete the rawhide armor set yet. Let me take a look. Because we have the headband, the gloves, the vest. I only need the pants and the boots. I'm going to make a full rawhide set, and we will have one character who operates as our tank in the coming battle. It's kind of risky to put all of the armor gear onto one person, but I think this is a risk I'm willing to take. We'll see if it pays off or not later. So that is what I'm going to do with all of my crafting resources. Alright. Now I'm going to off-screen check something. From my last play session, I believe you cannot have equipped two gear that take up the same slot, aka I could not be wearing rawhide pants with the cloth to get two armor, even though I have space to do that here. I would not be capable of doing that. I'm going to double check the rules on equipping. I will do that not on this episode, off of the screen, of course. I also need to see, like, if you can do that, can people wear two of the same thing to get benefits? I don't think they can. Alright, our armored guy, since he has all of the armor and can take blows, I'm going to give him the fragile bone sword. Then we'll just give the bone knife to Palutena, so she has a little something she can do. I will give the cat eye orb to the person with the founding stone, since they're not going to be attacking too much. As for the head protection, I guess we'll give it to Palutena, since she's going to be up close. This also gives it gives her one red affinity by doing this. I don't have anything that benefits from red affinity currently, so it doesn't really matter. I think that looks pretty decent, though. So this might be what we go for. I will do the research on the other thing. Our friend here gets a full armor set of rawhide. I just need to find it. There's some cool looking armors. I think it's leather armor? Rawhide armor. Completed set. And this is going to, I think, a guy. Donkey Kong. Yeah, Donkey Kong's got it. So we can shrink the size of this card because they're kind of extra large for no reason. So the rawhide armor, he adds 1 to all his hit locations, and when he performs a survival action roll, 1d10, on a result of 6 plus, he gains a survival back. So with the rawhide armor, every location is at a 1, so every location for Donkey Kong here is going to be at a 2. That's pretty good for him. He has the +1 evasion thanks to the rawhide vest. Because it's not permanent, I'm not going to add it here onto the primary attributes. I only want to do permanent stat modifiers onto those sorts of things. I guess if I'm keeping in mind why he has it, I'm not sure. I have to think how I want to keep track of that, because during the fight with the White Lion, I did a good job keeping track of it. I don't know, we'll see. We will see. Alright. So, Samus Aran here only has 1 in the cloth and then the bone darts. 1 for the waist. We have 3 on the head for Palutena, and 1 for the waist. And we have Mario with a 1 on the waist and his cat eye circlet. Alright. Luckily, Mario doesn't need his jaw to operate the cat eye circlet, so that's cool. So I think this is the party that we are going to go with. And that will do it for this episode. Although I still do have 2 endeavors to spend. I can't innovate. The Cactarium, let me put these back into here. I was looking through those for items. None of these give you... I could do 2 augury rolls. That is about all I can do at the moment. I have no resources to lose, so I suppose I'll do some augury rolls. Let's see. We'll do Samus. Samus is going to roll on the augury table. So that will use up one of our endeavors. Early on in the game, you don't really have anything to spend endeavors on. I don't have a resource to burn, so we simply waste an endeavor there. Alright. There's 5 endeavors to glean the meaning of existence. Add 1 to the result if the understanding is 3 or higher. None of these characters have high understanding. I'll have Samus do it again. She got a 2. So our endeavors unfortunately go to waste. Nothing that I can do about that. I'll just leave these organized for myself. And once again, with that, thank you for watching. This was the preparation phase for year 2. I don't think any major events occurred. Not until we have 5 innovations, then we will have the Hooded Knight event. Oh my. I was just looking at the not victorious against Nemesis, and you get a game over event. Oh boy. Hopefully we will be okay against the Nemesis. Things are going to be sprucing up. We're getting real spicy for me. Nobody else died. Right, it was only Zelda. I had no brain trauma rolls. We did not have intimacy. I suppose I can burn the love juice. I will do that. We're going to have Palutena hook up with you, whoever you are. No, Fox already has a kid. We'll do somebody else. Do Brock. Palutena's gonna hook up with Brock. You know how Brock was always into the Pokemon girls? Well, he got one glimpse of Palutena. And the rest is history. So Brock and Palutena, we're gonna... I think it's a milestone? No. Settlement events, intimacy. There we go. Yeah, look at this cute couple here. Alright, we roll 1d10, I believe. I don't know how you're ever supposed to get higher than a 10 on these charts. Maybe there's a way. I am not sure. I guess rolling a 10 if you have something like what we have. You can technically get an 11. Anyway, we'll make a roll. This is Palutena's kid that's coming. We're gonna roll her die. Where is that brown? The other brown dice that I had thrown. So I only see one here. Oh no. I'm curious. Whatever. It's new kid baby making time. Let's go. Let's get a baby. What do we get? A 3. So that will be a 4. Oh, roll twice and pick one result? Well, I will roll again. So that's different. 2 3s? Oh boy, I get to pick a 3. The female survivor perishes with her child during birth. Oh no. The settlement is cast in gloom. The male survivor mourns, gaining a random disorder and 3 insanity. Yeah, intimacy is dangerous if you roll 3 or less. You want 4 or up. Well, so even though Palutena is a goddess, apparently the reason why all the women leave Brock is because, well, reasons. Palutena dies. Jeez Louise. I'm going to take out a different female survivor then. I had her all set up too. Didn't think that would happen. Who is this? Dixie Kong is going to take her place then. We will have Dixie go out and wear this equipment. Yeah. I will do the recoloring later off screen. Although Palutena, that one, I'll leave that there, rename it. Put these back for the time being. Oh, man. Brock gets 3 insanity. Mourning the woman who did not survive childbirth. What a sad day. This was a good settlement phase for a while. Population goes down to 13. That's not a good sign, seeing that slowly go down. And I have to add Palutena's chart to here. So we're gonna pop it into the skull. Where did I put that skull? There it is. It's kind of hard to see. Pop that in here. This is gonna be Palutena Light. She died along with the child she was trying to give birth to. Man, what a way to go. Alright, so we have... No, get back in there. Not in Zelda's. I like to remember, if I ever want to check on the stats of people and stuff, it's really cool. You can put the old character sheets in here. You can put whatever you want in there. So we have 2 deaths. Oh boy. And our goddess died. That's a bummer. The odds of that occurring is so low. I won't mourn over it. Rest in peace, Palutena. Welcome to the party, Dixie. So I will set up Dixie's colors and I will fix the dice colors. When I return, I will have the antelope hunt board ready to go along with the terrain that is chosen. So thank you guys so much for watching. When we return, we will do the hunt of Lantern Year 2. Hope you look forward to it.